What if Judy and Desire were two things beyond your control, things that you could never escape? 1999. Amy scoffed his ribbon ruffled her hair, his fingers gliding gently through the geisha's hair as she pouted. Lion Prince simply smiled and grinned widely at her pout. Lighten up, this silver-haired girl shoved the dusky-haired boy, though her lips betrayed a smile as she chuckled softly, her long hair flowing through the calm breeze of the hill. "Shut up, Liv," she said as she pushed herself up from the spot where she was leaning against her barn, her knees grazing the grass at the top of the hill, dirtying them. "Amy, come on," Ivan said, grabbing her wrist before she could walk away. "You keep leaving as soon as I say something like that. It's a bad excuse. What's going on?" The dusky-haired boy began to grip her wrist tighter. "If this is about the modernization that's happening in Japan, I can help. Look, we can't keep being like this. If my father finds out, she gets cut off," as Rowan says in a cold tone. "Then what? I don't care. I'm sick of your father controlling your life. Make your own choices once, if you even can." 2099. As time passed, Japan's modernization was complete. However, it came at a great cost. A certain figure corrupted the representative of Indonesia, leading him to wage war on the Japanese. However, it was a grave mistake. The Indonesians were on the verge of losing. They were struggling to have cultural resilience. "Eka!" a voice called out from afar, releasing the tension in the thick air of the tent. Eka smiled and snapped her head to look at the area of the boys. Lynn was her best friend. "What's up, Lakshmi?" Lakshmi sat next to Eka as she was packing her bags, twisting her fingers in her hair, ruffling it in the process and ruining it. "Hey, careful. When we go to Japan today, we have to look at least approachable." Lakshmi laughed at Eka's concern, moving her hand from her hair as she grinned widely. "I'm really excited to go to Japan. I know we're spying on them, and it is dangerous, but doesn't it just feel exhilarating?" Eka paused, unpacking her stuff, and just gave a side-eye towards Lakshmi, causing them both to burst into laughter. "I think you're the only one to have thought that way, Lakshmi." "Oh, right, by the way, are Farah and Joe going with us?" Lakshmi nodded, helping Eka pack her bags. "Yeah, they are. I'm not too close with them, though." Just as Lakshmi was beginning to explain about Farah and Joe, a deep voice could be heard from outside the tent. It was the commander of the Indonesian resilience team. "Eka, Lakshmi, Farah, Joe, 0.08 minutes, be ready at 8:30 p.m. Eka, calm down, hotshot. The plan is simple. Just spy on the Japanese. Find out their vision, mission, and goals, okay?" Lakshmi explained, giving a thumbs up to Joe, rolling her eyes as far as coughed. "There's more to that than just vision, mission, and goals. It's not that easy. It never is." Farah noticed and mocked Lakshmi due to the simplicity of her words. As Eka watched, Eka notices the tension between her team members. She speaks up louder with no hesitation, still looking outside the window. "Calm down, all of you," Eka says, crossing her arms. "We all realize that Indonesia's culture is in danger right now. We have to work together to reclaim our country. It's not some simple game like going to play a cat. It's an actual mission. So if we don't get our acts together and collaborate for once in our lives, I don't think there's much hope left for Indonesia." The plane falls in silence. Even Joe, who always has something to say, is quiet. Only the sound of the engine can be heard as the weight of Eka's words settle and suddenly, they all realize how important this mission is. Lakshmi shifts in her seat, her attitude softening as she buckles her seatbelt across from her. Farah stares out the window at her, lost in thought as Joe fidgets with his hands, tapping his fingers on the armrest to a certain view, with Eka closing her eyes and leaning back against her seat. The quiet hum that gradually gets louder fills the cabin as the plane begins to take off. "Man, this is gonna be a long plane ride," Joe murmurs. None of the others replied to Joe's murmur, all lost in thought. However, one thing is obvious. They're all thinking about how they can go back home, and if they can make it. Tokyo, Japan. "Man, when do the new recruits arrive anyway?" Kyo exclaimed, flailing his arms around dramatically, as if he were a lost puppy, almost helping it to him. Patience, Kyo. We have all the time in the world right now to wait for him, and says coldly, not even looking up from the document that he's reading. Was Kyo looks over his shoulder, grins wildly and then whistles. Damn, and the girls are cute. Any of them your type? His eyes gleamed as in profiles of the new recruits. Shut up. We're here for recruits, not for love or whatever the hell you're thinking of, he said, his tone unbothered as he kept reading the penthouse. Kyo groaned and sunk into a nearby chair. We can't keep waiting. My patience is for everything. You know that, right, Rin? I'm practically dying. Kyo put a hand over his chest dramatically. However, Rin simply didn't reply, or even bidding, and kept reading the document. What's the deal with these new recruits anyways? Do you think they can keep up with us? Kyo grinned like a child as he said the last few words, knowing the standards of the Japanese. Oh my god, Rin, look, they're here. I'm blessed. No, we're blessed. Kyo jumped up from his seat as the plane landed in front of him. The quick breeze of the plane landing ruining his hair as Rin chuckled a bit at his disheveled appearance. Lakshmi, Para, Joe, and Eka boarded off the plane, leading Kyo and Rin. So this is Japan. Cool, Joe said, being a nonchalant as Eka, Lakshmi, and Para both all snorted and laughed at his fake persona. As Eka was laughing, she noticed Rin in the background. Her eyes that fell on Rin sparkled in a way that she never knew was possible. Lakshmi picked up on this instant. Don't fall so quickly, Eka, Leslie said, giggling and shoving Eka's head in a playful manner as Kyo began running towards them with Rin in the back, walking at a tempered pace. Hey, I'm Kyo, and this old softy is Rin, Kyo said with a wide grin, throwing an arm over Rin's shoulder, which was quickly in the air as Rin backed to its coffee while Kyo chatted. Rin's cold green eyes grimaced as he looked at the four, scanning them as he looked up and down as if he was judging them. So you guys are the new recruits, Eka, Lakshmi, Para, and Joe, right? His voice in a subtle tone that could send shivers down your spine. Yeah. Para was the first to walk up to Rin, and
Let me introduce you to In Between by Amanda Otatalim. The New Beginning. I was a foreigner back then. I came from Japan and I am currently an exchange high schooler in the USA due to my family's financial problems. But as time flies, I consider the USA as my second home, although my ethnicity is Japanese and I have already passed my culture shock. Their culture resembles my flexible and free personality. One day, I met a girl named Charlie, and soon after, she became my best friend through the same hobby. We walked past each other and I waved at her. I noticed that she was the right girl to be friends with because I admired her drawing, which I glimpsed and as I walked past by her. Friends or enemies? Charlie is known for being an insightful person. However, other students started to think that she's not some popular girl like Emma but a pathetic loser. So I tried to be distant with her as soon as possible. As I became more popular, Emma unexpectedly asked me, Hey, wanna be friends? And I was silent for a moment, remembering what my ancestors said that I should restrict myself from being friends with an American because of the bomb incident a long time ago, since my hometown is located exactly at the Hiroshima. After a few months, I felt like Brad, my classmate, gave me butterflies, and since I'm an open person, I approached him and started a new topic. Butterfly curse. Emma secretly discovered that I was into him and gave me some tips to gain my popularity by introducing me to him. Nice to meet you, I'm Brad. Yeah, me too. I heard that you're friends with Emma, right? We just know each other. Anyways, let's join our gang. But I'm scared if my parents found out. Don't worry, I'll confront them later. He anxiously talks. After a bittersweet conversation happened, I remembered Charlie's little words that I shall stay away from him for good. However, I declined her advice and just kept going with the flow. The next day, we started our first mission, convincing people to join our gang. Honestly, my peer pressure can relate. But I tried to push myself to keep our friendship together. Why not? Why? Born to be American. I came to visit my hometown for this winter break. It feels so different comparing to the West. It's so traditional here. I sigh. When I knock on the doorhouse, slight smell of wasabi annoyed me extremely unfavorable. My mom gently opened the door. A heartwarming word. Welcome back, sweetheart, and started her tears of joy. Without too much lingering, mom directs me to the cuisine for our family dinner. I tasted the food grumpily and swallowed. Ew, a yakitori? This disgusts me already, I complain. What's wrong with it, honey? Japan's food sucks. I wish I never born Asian. My family started to cry, and Yuri, my sister, said the word. Are you going to leave us? I hope not. And obviously, you guys are ignorant enough. That takes a broom and Stanley throws to my face. Then he grumbled. What's your tone, young lady? Screaming, crying, slamming the door, and that's all I did to vent my disappointment. I wish my parents fully understood me. Right person, wrong time. As the time caved in, I went back to my high school in Los Angeles. Brett approached me and said, how's your winter break going? Far from good. I guess it's because of your fussy parents. And no. However, Brett noticed that I lied to him since he has a good hunch. Indeed, Brett is a caring person like a golden retriever, far from the word awful. But things changed. He faces peer pressure, causing his trash like friends neglecting him as well as his abusive parents. But he refuses to tell anyone because he felt bad for Yuki since they share feelings for each other. And he hopes that Yuki finds out regarding his situation soon. I went to my home that evening today, more precisely at 6 past 15, since the ordinary go home time was 3 o'clock. When I arrived at my boarding house, I was surprised by the vibrant graffiti on the wall, even until it fractured. And more surprisingly, a stranger wrote several bad remarks, disgraceful, ungrateful, and terrifying. Since I trust my gut 10 times more than my logic, I truly have a hunch that Brett and his associates were the ones who were responsible for that action. A beautiful chaos. The next day, I confronted Brett since I marked him as a friend of me. When I stepped my foot into the school lobby, a coincidence, I bumped into him and gave him a stare. There you go, fool. What's lately? Come on, don't act so innocent, dummy. I knew that you were just using me as your friend. Didn't it? I can't explain that, screamed him. Let me make a list of your actions that ruin my family image. First of all, I remember when you start talking to me and ask me to join your friend group without thinking. Second, I knew that all of your friends were Japanese hater, including you. Lastly, you just wanted me to be everyone's laughing stock. After the chaos last night, finally I ended a statement by screaming, I hate you! And started to batter his head. Oh, calm down, he said, as I still battering on him until they both collapsed. An officer raided the school due to this fatal incident. I love you. I'm sorry. After I woke from my fainting last night, Charlie visited me, and my parents also flew away to the USA to visit me, and they are before my eyes. Honey, I miss you, they cried. and hugged both of my parents straight away as I felt guilty about my own actions. We had a small talk and apologized to him immediately. A minute later, Brett is gradually waking up from his faint as well, and Gaisley turned his head towards me. The first statement he made after he regained consciousness is apologizing, not continuing the incident, because he admitted he faced peer pressure, the same thing as Yuki faced long term peer pressure too, since they got acquainted with Emma. She is known for her resentment towards Japanese people, and suddenly I was shocked by his words. He was proposing to me to be his girlfriend, but I still doubted him while biting my nails. We shared a laughter, including my family, who have accepted my relationship with him because in my culture, we are all connected in harmony, as articulated by my ancestors. College life. It's such a long journey to finish high school. I reminisced about many memories we shared and finally graduated. After I ended up dating him, we lived blissfully without Emma bothering us again. For this year's summer break, we plan to embark on a vacation to Tokyo. Don't forget to bring our both families, as we value tradition in high regard. Thank you. Hope you like it.
Hello, friends, and today I will share my story about my Hella narrative fiction. So, this story is called Inheriting Fashion. Now, what is this story about? It is a journey and a step to success. It all began as a young girl with brown hair and a dream. Hello, hi, I'm Nancy Salim Harton. Ever since I was young, I always had a passion for designing. When I was younger, I would always be alone, sketching my designs, hoping for it to be seen one day. And while the other students in my country, Indonesia, would be playing recess with their friends, I was never really the type of person to socialize with anyone. Some called me a freak, and I often got scolded for getting distracted or sketch in class. And I was overall a loner at school. But now it's high school. The time where I can finally express my interests and find my future. I live in a small town in Palembang. My high school had a fashion club. Of course, I was eager to join. I thought everyone there was just like me, a nerdy loser who chose to design over friends. Although, here in this club, it's more of the popular students among the school. They were all so popular and elegant, and with their expensive and branded clothing for school, the fact that everyone had their own circle made me feel anxious about myself. This wasn't what I was expecting from the club I wanted to join for years. Then suddenly, the first semester of me being in the FFC 08, which is called the Fabulous Fashion Club of 2008, my professor announced that there will be a contest where the best design will get accepted to fly to Japan to be a part of this known organization called Japan Fashion Institute. I spent the whole weekend designing my dress. It took me countless days of sleep and hard work, but finally I was finished with my design right on time. I was nervous, so I presented them with a unique dress I created. It was a navy blue slit dress with pearls on the side, as well as a feather mask as an accessory. When I showed it to the judges, they were shocked. I expected a calmer reaction, but I didn't complain. After my turn was done, I sat back down feeling anxious. After a long wait, the results were in, and I was so nervous. And the winner of this year's FFC 08 competition is, says one of the judges. I wasn't really expecting my name to be mentioned, so I just kept a calm glance. And then suddenly, Nancy! I was really shocked, and the judges exclaimed, "What was that? I won? I can't believe it. I must be dreaming." This was my first experience winning something in life, so it was an unsettling feeling when I saw everyone cheering for me. I immediately get back home and I start packing my stuff to focus on my new career. After a while, it was my flight to Japan. The next day, it was around 5 a.m. I immediately rushed to the airport with a hint of excitement and nervousness. What's it like being in a new country? Will I make new friends there? What if I fail? But it's too soon to worry about that. As I boarded my first ever plane, it was unsettling. Um, to worry about that. And the whole trip, I was using my headphones on the window seat as I stared into a view of the beautiful clouds. I was wondering about my new journey in life. I really can't wait to be in this organization. After a solid 10-hour trip from Indonesia to Japan, I finally made it. I went to Japan Institute building, Fashion Institute building. I was greeted with appetizers and luxurious scenery. Well, I was gifted with a suit I was willing to stay in. This was way nicer than what I had in my hometown. An hour later, I got dressed and prepared myself as for my first shift at work. Everyone was here seemed so strict and mature, as I am one of the youngest person in this institute. During the studio, everyone sat down in their working area. I sat at an empty seat next to this other girl. As I prepared my notebook, pens, and coloring pencils, I saw a tall figure walk by. Huh? Who is she? That was our director, Aoi Nakamura. Known for her designs in modern fashion, she assigned everyone to sketch this year's most important pageant, the Great Grand Ball. She mentioned that there will be very important people in the fashion industry, meaning this project must be taken seriously. As I was sketching my design, I immediately took my pencil and broke it in half. What is this? What are the strange motive for this dress? This will not make people impressed by our institute. Who even are you? I explained in an angry tone. I could feel all the eyes on me as her attention was on me. This is a kebaya from Indonesia. I wanted to express my culture and show others that it is valuable. I said in nervousness. No! Who are you? You must be the new member from that little competition in Palembang, right? Amateurs. Don't you know the audience want to see more modern and peasant-like designs in their eyes, unlike boring old designs like yours? I mentioned arrogantly. I had no choice but to follow her demands and make something new. It was against my choices, but I must. What will I do? Back at my studio, I immediately sat on my desk, feeling unrelieved. How am I supposed to achieve my dreams now if I can't even express my culture? That was my mission on day one of my passion, I said as I sighed. As I was sitting on my desk, feeling this devastated, I saw a strange figure appeared. Who says you can't express yourself? Hey, who is that? It says by a strange voice has been heard. Hey, Akari Tanaka, your roommate. I saw you getting scolded by Ai. Don't feel so down, though. She is usually cranky, especially to new members, Akari mentioned. Oh, I understand, but all I wanted was after winning that small competition, I wanted to show the world my country, my culture, and its values, I mentioned as I felt relieved I could have someone to express my thoughts to. Just don't care what others think. Anyway, it's your design anyways, so who are they to stop you? Kari mentioned. She's right. From that day on, I continued to design my dress. It was a silk kabaya combined with Japanese fabric and the infamous kimono. And so, the final day has finally come, and I was feeling really anxious. Maybe I should just scrap this idea. I can't let out know, or she's gonna be mad at me. Just look at her. She's over there controlling everybody, looking so stressful. An hour later, the fashion show started, and everyone's dresses were presented one by one. And when mine was up, I was nervous. I looked at Aoi and she was furious. Although the judges and people looked stunned. I wasn't sure it was good or bad, so I just kept calm. Later on, after it ended, turns out people loved my idea. I was really proud I could finally achieve my dreams. Yet, I was thankful for everything. Okay, that's it. Thank you for listening to my narrative story.
Hello everyone. My name is Kenan, and I'm excited to share with you the story that I created. The story is about a couple who has different cultural backgrounds and faces challenges and problems throughout their relationship. And the story is told from the main character's point of view. The title is Difference. In 2025, I was given a chance to change my life. A cultural exchange program that brought me from Indonesia to Japan. And that's where I met this really kind and curious Japanese girl. Her name is Hannah. As we spent time together, um, I shared the beauty of Indonesian culture with her, and she introduced me to the traditions of Japan. Our friendship quickly grew into something deeper. I clearly like her a lot, but should I? Every day I spend hours with her, and I know she fell in love with me. Too many weeks go by, and I introduce myself to her family, knows that we are a thing. But with that love came a difficult challenge. Our relationship was tested by the differences in our cultures and the expectation our family had for us. I was torn between staying true to my family and culture and following my heart. We were happy and our relationship grew stronger. We began developing deeper feelings for each other, but things then got complicated about us and her family. Hannah's mother, Amy, didn't approve of our relationship. She's worried that being with me will make Hannah lose touch with our family values. On the other side, I told my family everything that has been going on with me and Hannah, mostly my sister. My family, though more supportive, still had concern about us being from different cultures. Hannah's mother confronted her. She's strong on her words that Hannah should marry someone from their own culture. We will carry on their family traditions. Amy even told Hannah that she should focus on the family needs, not on our relationship. Hannah was torn between the love she felt for me and her loyalty to her family. I felt the pressure of my family's concern too. We both realized that our relationship was at crossroads, though we loved each other so much, and we had to decide whether to follow our hearts or give in to the pressure from our families. Um, After all we've been through together, Hannah and I decided to have some serious talk. What will happen to us, Raka? Her voice was trembling and I could see it in her eyes, that she was about to cry. I told her how much I valued my culture, but that she was just as important to me. Hannah shared how difficult it was to balance her family's expectation with her love for me. We both realized that our relationship didn't have to erase our cultures, but it could actually bring our families closer. So we decided to talk to our families, explaining that our love wasn't a threat to our traditions, but something that could make our life richer and happier together. We asked for their understanding and hoped they would see how we could share both our love and our family's expectations. Each and every one of us shared our thoughts and feelings of the whole situation, and both our families began to understand our relationship better. Hannah's mother, though still cautious, agreed to support Hannah as long as she stayed true to her roots and culture. Eiko, who always followed a more traditional path, started to see the value to cultural exchange. My family came to accept our relationship and the richness it brought to both our cultures, and my sister is just happy to see me and Hannah together happily. Hannah and I found a way to continue our relationship while respecting our differences. We got the support we needed from our families and built a future where our love didn't erase our cultural backgrounds. Instead, it helped us appreciate the beauty of diversity and cultural resilience. Our story showed that love can bridge cultural gaps, and we learned that understanding each other's backgrounds only makes us stronger. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Today I'm going to tell you a story about Lina and the Taste of Culture. In 2029, in Jakarta, there was a small restaurant called Seribu Rasa. It was owned by Lina's mother, Fimarsha, and was known for serving authentic Indonesian dishes, especially rendang, a traditional spicy beef dish. Lina helped her mother every day and was proud of their food. She wanted the restaurant to grow and succeed. One sunny afternoon, a group of Japanese tourists entered the restaurant. Lina greeted them kindly and showed them to their seats. The leader of the group was Akira Asuka, a young man with sharp eyes and a serious face. Lina served them her best dish, rendang, hoping they would like it. When the group finished eating, Akira frowned and said loudly, "This is terrible. It doesn't taste right at all." Lina was surprised but answered politely, "I'm sorry to hear that. Most of our customers love this dish." Akira ignored her and continued to complain. "The meat is too tough And the flavor is bland. How can you call this food? His friend agreed. Lina tried to explain. This is how rendang is traditionally made. It takes hours to cook and it has a rich spicy flavor. Akira rolled his eyes. It's not good, and I'll write a bad review so everyone knows. Lena's face turned red with embarrassment. She wanted to cry but held her tears. This night, Lena told her mother everything. What if their bad reviews ruin the restaurant? She said, feeling scared. Firmansha hugged her and said, don't give up, Lena. Every obstacle is a part of the process. Firmansha told Lena to stay confident. Together, they worked to improve the rendang recipe, making it more flavorful while keeping it traditional. Feeling hopeful, Firmansha invited Akira and his group back to the restaurant to try the new version. When the group came back, Lena greeted them with a smile and served the updated rendang. As they ate, Lena noticed Akira pulling out a packet of dried seaweed or nori and sprinkle it on the dish. His friends did the same. Lena was surprised but spoke up. Excuse me, she said, standing straight. Rendang meant to be eaten as it is. Adding seaweed changes the taste completely. Akira frowned and said, seaweed makes everything taste better. If your food isn't good, that's not my fault. Lena stayed calm and explained. Rendang is a traditional Indonesian dish. It has a strong flavor that shows our diversity and culture. If you add other ingredients, it won't taste the way it should. Akira paused, then tried the rendang again without the seaweed. His face softened and he said, it's not that bad. Maybe we should have eaten it the way it meant to be. Lina smiled, feeling proud. After the meal, Firmansha offered the group a free dessert and explained the cultural value of rendang. Akira and his friends apologized for being rude and thanked Lina for teaching them. Akira even promised to change his review and write about what he had learned instead. Lina got an idea to create a guide for the restaurant. It explained how to eat traditional Indonesian dishes and why they were made a certain way. This helped more international customers enjoy the food and understand its cultural importance. As weeks passed, more people visited Seribu Rasa. The restaurant became famous for its delicious food and the stories behind each dish. Lena felt proud of herself of overcoming the obstacle and staying true to her culture. She learned that preserving traditions is not just about cooking but also about teaching others to respect and appreciate them. Thank you for listening.
Hello, everyone. Today we'll be listening to Mia's Journey Through Shadows and Light, made by Angelica Letizia Jefferson. I stood at my hometown, looking up at the pretty sky. The colors were orange and pink as the sun was setting. Nature was all around me. I was born in the celestial world in the year 3200, a place full of mysteries and stories about our culture that have been forgotten over time. When I was born, I got a special tattoo from my ancestors. This magical tattoo only shows up when I'm in danger, glowing softly to warn me. In this world, where it feels like everyone could be a threat, my tattoo helps keep me safe. It reminds me to always be careful. I live with my loving parents who take great care of me. They love to cook tasty meals and make sure I'm happy and healthy. My dad often calls me Mia Honey, which makes me feel special since I am their only child. Even though my hometown feels cozy and nice, sometimes I feel uneasy. We might be watched or in danger from enemies. I can't shake this feeling. It stays in my mind and makes it hard to relax. Sometimes I imagine what could happen if my fears were real, and just thinking about it scares me. Today is the first day of fall, a season that usually brings comfort and change, but as I walk through familiar streets, I start to feel worried. Suddenly, everything changes. I see arrows targeting my neighbors' homes, the thunderous sound of galloping horses fills the air, and villagers scream in panic. My heart races in fear. All I can focus is how to protect myself and my family from all the chaos.
That disaster hit, I stood at my hometown watching it burn down by the enemies. All there's left to do is run. I heard my parents scream, "Mia, run! It's dangerous!" I couldn't leave them, but I had no choice. Going back was too risky, so I ran as the enemies chased me. I kept running until I found myself in an enchanted forest. My enemies had lost track of me. As I walked through the forest, I saw colorful trees and glowing butterflies. I encountered beautiful creatures like a glowing rainbow snake and a pink kitsune, realizing I was in a magical world. I have been in this enchanted forest since evening. Now it's nighttime. The vibe feels so different and sort of spooky. As the paths got dark, I started to feel scared. Everything was black and I couldn't see anything. I just wanted to get out. I reached for my backpack to find a flashlight, but I saw that it only had a water bottle, my phone, and a letter. Why is there a letter in my bag? What does it say? Who wrote it? I thought. I opened the letter and read, "Run, run, now. It's dangerous. Run now." Suddenly, I felt something behind me. "Stay calm, Mia," I told myself. "It's just your imagination." Now I am scared. I was very scared. What should I do? I was panicking. It was dark and gloomy. I heard leaves crunching on the side. That's where my fear hit the worst. What was that? I wondered. Feeling curious, I went towards the sound of crunching leaves, but I saw nothing. If there's nothing, then what made that sound? I shrugged off my fear and continued walking in the darkness, trying to find my way out. After a few minutes of wandering, I suddenly heard a scream behind me. "Don't look back! Run! Ah!" I was shocked and panicked. At that moment, my tattoo showed up on my wrist and glowed, helping me like a flashlight. I aimed the light from my tattoo on my wrist towards the path and started running. I didn't look back, but I was very curious. What was behind me? I should just look back. I'm far anyways. I looked back and instantly regretted it. I saw a man in a black hoodie holding what looked like a magical wand. I screamed in fear. "Who are you? Why are you following me?" He replied in a deep voice, "I'm just here to help you. Don't worry." I didn't believe him until he said, "Mia, honey." That was what my father used to call me. I walked closer and demanded him to take off his hood. The man opened his hood, and to my surprise, I recognized that face. "Father, what are you doing here?" I was glad it was nobody else. My father said to me, "I was the one who placed the magical note in your backpack. I got this magical wand from an enemy that passed, and I went in the forest since I knew you definitely went this way when running." I was happy that was my own father. I hugged my father, happy he made it out of the enemy's way safely. My father said, "Mia, honey, we need to leave the forest quickly. If it hits 12 a.m., gloomy creatures will come out." I was shocked. My phone showed it was 11:50 p.m. "How can we get out of here in under 10 minutes? I wondered. He smiled, but it looked sinister. Then he said, "Run." I looked up and saw his red eyes and creepy grin. "You're not my father," I yelled, running as fast as I could. With my glowing tattoo, I saw the creature that looked like my father getting closer. Remembering my dad's words about doppelgangers, I bravely faced it and said, "You belong here." I blinded it with my tattoo, grabbed the wand, and cast a spell. By the light of this wand, I summoned the magic within. The creature screamed, "You ruined everything," and vanished. A goddess then appeared and said, "Thank you for saving this forest," leaving me proud of myself. The goddess bowed down and vanished. I made it through the forest, seeing all the beautiful magical nature. I looked at my tattoo. I was proud of my ancestors. I realized everything has a purpose, like this tattoo. This tattoo helped me when I was at my lowest, and I was very proud of it. Then I realized I had been in the forest for hours. However, it didn't really feel like hours. The sun started to rise up, and I finally found the way out of the forest. "I recognize this road," I said, then realized that's my hometown. I ran to find it damaged by the enemies, but rushed to my house where my parents sat on a rock. "Mother! Father!" I hugged them tightly. They thought I was gone. After a few days, builders arrived with new technology, transforming our cottage into a futuristic mansion. As I stood in front of our home, I thought, I guess this is the end of my journey of discoveries. But I thought to myself, then who was the person who pretended to be my father? What was the reason for the mysterious creature putting a note in my bag? And what kind of magic does the wand have that can turn someone into pure dust? I guess we'll never know.
Hello everybody, my name is Nathaniel Carson Emilius and I will be telling you the story named The Songs of the Wind made by me. Meet Joel, Tommy and Ellie, who are the few survivors at the post-apocalyptic Jakarta, where most people become zombies. Zombies roam around the streets of Jakarta, so they stay aware of their surroundings. When they are at the safari park, they do their cultural traditions like dancing and passing down traditional songs to one another. In the safari park, Ellie talks to Joel about going to find some supplies for the base. Ellie says, "Joel, I'm going to go out to find some supplies, okay?" Joel responds, "Okay, Ellie. Just make sure to be careful and be aware of your surroundings. And one last thing, don't get bit." Ellie responds, "Okay, Joel." Ellie leaves the place to find some supplies as she went out and took the brown horse from the stables. She rode the horse once she was outside the base compound. After an hour of riding, she arrives at Giripangraro camping grounds, where she sees someone trapped among the hordes of zombies, so Ellie drops down from her horse and observes the area to see anything she could use to divert the zombies from the unknown person. She found a broken down car, so she picked up a rock and threw it at the car to make some noise. Her efforts were successful because the horde of zombies was attracted to the noise and began to circle the car. While they do that, Ellie moves closer to the unknown person. She checks their condition. Ellie says, "Hey, are you okay?" The unknown person was apparently a woman. She replied, "I think I'm okay." Ellie introduces herself and asks the woman's name. The woman replied, "The name's Abby." Ellie responded, "Good, you know your name. Then that means there are no concussion and I take it that you can run with me from this place?" Abby nodded and said, "Yeah, where are we going?" Ellie pointed to the direction of her horse and said, "Let's climb it and get to the nearest shelter." Safari result. "My people are there and they can help us." Abby and Ellie crouched while walking faster to avoid the remaining zombies. They managed to safely ride the horse to the nearest shelter. Once they arrived, everyone greeted them warmly. Only Joel, who seemed to have suspicion because he felt he had seen Abby somewhere outside the compound. During the first time Joel gathered supplies by himself, he slowly remembers that he saw Abby and her team raided a survivors' camp. However, doesn't say a word to Ellie, but motions to Tommy to talk in private in their secret room. Meanwhile, outside, Abby got along well with the others. She took a glass of Coke to give to Ellie and Ellie drank from it happily. Everyone was happily dancing along and singing to traditional music of Jakarta. When suddenly someone fell over and the others soon followed. Ellie, who saw this, went panicked and she rushed over to Abby only to feel that her legs don't work anymore. Ellie fell down head first on the ground, and the last thing she saw was Abby and a few people rushed into the shelter saying that They just got a big catch. That is the Thank you. That is the end of the story. Now it's up to the listeners' mind to see what the real ending of their thoughts will be like. Thank you. Bye.
Hello everyone, my name is Aurelio, and today I'm going to read a book named Recipe for Success. Once upon a time, there was a chef named Azizi who lived in Jakarta in 2026. She started cooking when she was a little girl. Now she's an aspiring cook trying to make it in the cooking world, but feels like she doesn't belong because of the modernization in the food culture. Her mom supports her, but Azizi feels a lot of pressure to impress people in the culinary world. One day, Azizi's mom discovers her great-grandmother's old cookbook, filled with family recipes that have almost been forgotten. As she starts experimenting with these recipes, Azizi feels a deep connection to her heritage. However, when Chef Dharma, a highly influential chef in the culinary world, criticizes her style, she labels it as outdated and urges her to adapt trendy techniques to appeal to modern tastes. Chef Dharma challenges Azizi publicly during a cooking event, criticizing her traditional dishes in front of an audience. Azizi is forced to decide should she abandon her family's recipe and embrace modern trends to win approval, or should she prove the value of her heritage? Her heart tells her to stick to her roots, but she fears that it might fail. Azizi finally chooses to embrace her family traditional recipes, knowing that her culture is a part of her identity. Despite risking her popularity, she combines her unique storytelling about her heritage into her cooking, showcasing the cultural elements behind each dish. Then Azizi begins to find a small behind each dish. Small but loyal group of supporters who admire her authenticity. Azizi's choice pays off as people start recognizing the rich, unique flavors and stories behind her food. Inspired by her courage, some chefs and diners begin revisiting their own family traditions. Even Chef Dharma comes to respect Azizi for staying true to herself. Azizi realizes that honoring her heritage and following her heart is far more meaningful than chasing trends, leaving her proud of the chef she has become. Okay, thank you.
Hey everybody! My name is Enzo. Well, my full name is Ezekiel Lee, or you can call me Enzo. Today I'm here with my buddy Pikachu. Say hi, Pikachu! So today I would like to tell you guys a story entitled The Changes by, of course, me as the author. So without further ado, let's go and look at the story. So guys, this story starts off like this. In a fine evening in Jakarta, located in the central Intabet Park, there lived a young boy named Ade, which looked like this. Ade came from a Japanese tribe. As he was waiting in Tebet Park, he was waiting for his best friend named Sugio. Oh yeah, for a matter of fact, he's half Indonesian and Japanese, which look like this. Now Sugio and Ade has been friends since kindergarten. As a matter of fact, right now, they are in college. as Sugyo arrived and greeted Ade with a hello and a wave. Then out of nowhere, clouds in the sky roamed as it got super dark, pitch black. Everyone was in a panic in Tebet Park as they were running and rushing to the nearest shelter. Ade and Sugyo then packed their bags and ran to the nearest shelter. But as Ade was moving and passing through a pole, out of nowhere and coincidentally, a thunder struck near the pole, which automatically hits Ade. Now, Ade was left behind, unconscious, till Sugyo looked to his back and noticed that Ade wasn't following him. Then Sugyo looked to his back again and saw that Ade was laying on the floor unconsciously. Then Sugyo shouted, "Ade, Ade, now is not the time to sleep!" As Sugyo shouted with panic, Ade had no response. So Sugyo decided to pull Ade as he brought him to the shelter. Next thing, Ade woke up around 2 minutes after the pull. Ade then saw to his left and saw a little girl. The girl was sewing, and Ade asked, "What are you doing?" The little girl only responded with a smile on her face and said, "This is batik. I bet you didn't know it, but batik is a traditional pattern cloth from Indonesia." Then Ade was like, "Hey Sugyo, do you know anything about batik?" He asked curiously. Sugyo then replied, "No, I don't know what is that, but the only thing that I know is you're so heavy, and can you please stand up?" He said with determination and hesitation. Then Ade stood up, and they both ran to the nearest shelter as their stomach rumbles. Then they decided to eat a pack of noodles, which was named Indomie. Ade thought of it as a bad name, so did Sugyo. Then, as the rain stopped and everything went to pitch white again, the sun came out, birds were chirping. Ade and Sugyo decided to walk alongside the Tebet road to Kuningan. As they arrived in Kuningan, they saw a beautiful structure, so mossy, yet it's beautiful. The name was Pancoran. This is what Pancoran looks like, guys. So as they looked at it, unconsciously, Ade ordered a grab or a cab, a flying cab. At the time, it was very famous. He ordered a cab to the airport. Then out of nowhere, Sugyo said, "Hey, what are you doing? Why did you order a flying cab to the airport?" Then Ade said, "I don't know." Out of nowhere, the flying cab arrived, and without knowing on what to do and not wanting to waste money, Ade and Sugyo proceed to got in. As they arrived to the airport, they saw a new city-like thing. There was a dome, there was a zoo, even there's a new city. It was like 3 in 1. The airport was very big, and compared to 3 years ago, it was far different. Now, Sugyo and Ade, as they got into the airport, they were amazed as how the scenery is. Ade then stood up to Sugyo and said, "Hey, want to split up and see around the airport?" Sugyo then replied with a nod. And as they split up, 5 hours later, Sugyo got up to the main start point and saw there's no Ade. No signs of Ade at all. No sounds, no footsteps, no anything. Sugyo then thought to himself, "I think he got lost. I'm just gonna take a quick nap." Then Sugyo proceeded to take a nap. Meanwhile, for Ade, he was in the bathroom stall. As he opened the bathroom stall, he stood his first step and immediately fell down to a deep hole. The hole was so pitch black, you can't even see anything. Ade then stood up and got his phone and opened his flashlight and saw it was like a machine. He was shocked at first, but randomly pressed buttons. Out of nowhere, from the machine itself, there was a blue ray coming out from it. As everything stopped, time stopped. Like nothing had happened, yet time has stopped. Sugyo woke up and said, "Oh, is it morning? Or am I just dreaming? Then out of nowhere, both Ade and Sugyo got sucked into the time machine. Or supposedly like a time machine. As they got in, they got reunited, and a white light appeared in front of them and said 1999. With confusion, they still got in. As they fell down from the sky into a bush, they met a kind Japanese native living in Indonesia named Ken Sugimoto. He looked like this. His personalities is nice, a kind person and a kind-hearted person. But behind that mask, he's an irritant person. He's super evil. He didn't like culture. Ken then asked kindly, "Hey, are you guys okay? You guys seem injured." Then Ade said, "Oh, no, I'm fine," as he touched his back. As they stood up, Ken then offered them a ride around town because they were new, supposedly. But Sugyo refused. Yet Ade, without even knowing anything, accepted and followed Ken to his car. Sugyo, with not knowing on what to do, then followed Ade. As they got into Ken's car, they ride around town and saw a lot of things, new skyscrapers and anything. As they hopped into Ken's car, Ade and Sugyo with curiosity asked Ken about the situation, and Ken explained everything in detail. But out of nowhere, two black-vested police intercepted their car in a turnpike. The first police in the left said, "Hey, put your vehicle down. Put the observer down. You're under arrest for messing up with the quantum time portal." Then Ade replied with confusion, "What is that? We don't even know what's that. Stop messing with us. We're trying to just move on." Then the second police in the right shot them as they flinched without even notice. Ade then pulled out an observer, an iPhone looked like but with more buttons. Then he pointed out to the front, and a red beam showed and explode as the two black vested police officers were gone. Only the vests and their sunglasses remained. With shock, Ken then asked, "Can I borrow it?" asked Ken politely. Then Ade shook his head and borrowed it to Ken. But it was a wrong decision. Ken then pointed out it to Ade and Sugyo as a green beam shot them and flinched them and hurt them all. Ken, without even a word to tell, opened up a portal to the year 2021 as he said, "Goodbye, I'll meet you in the other side." Then Ken left, devastated and determined. They tried to find a way back as a vision from Ade came to them. It was a batik cloth. They needed to find that. That's the key for them to get back home. As they were roaming around and they found a batik, the batik then opened to the year 2021 as they meet a fellow friend named Hase. He was a Japanese influencer that lived in Indonesia. As they were asked, "Hey, are you okay?" asked Hase gently. Then Ade said, "Yeah, we're normal, we're fine." So, without any hesitation, Hase then asked them, "Where do you to?" And then they just say, "Around town." Then Hase brought them to the central park of Jakarta in Tebet again. But as they were growing and reaching that location nearby, the clouds began to be dark and a red beam occurred as Hase drifted away from them to dodge the danger. Then they realized it was Ken. He was different. He looks distorted. He looks like he's a waterman or even more. He said with a distorted face, "Ade, Sugyo, where are you? I need to find you." Then Ade, Sugyo, and Hase with terrified in the face and terrified expression then said, "Uh-oh, it's Ken." Then they all innovated a solution to beat Ken. As they were fighting Ken, they got obliterated and Ade Sugyo was unconscious because unfortunately Ken had choked them. But with the solution, Hase then threw a frying pan directly at the face of Ken. And then it dropped Ade and Sugyo as Hase pulled them. Without even notice, Hase then tried to bring back Ade and Sugio as Sugio regained consciousness. As for Ade, he did not. So with determination, they fought. They fought again to Ken. But out of nowhere, as they were at their last life, Ken was punched in the cheek so fast that they couldn't see it. It was so fast as a blink of an eye. Turns out it was Ade. He transformed into a batik like person, a superhero like that, and Ken was brought to an abandoned apartment that was about to fall in a blink of an eye. Then they continued their fight over there, and the apartment fell as Ade Ken was inside of there. Sugio and Hase then went inside there and brought them to the nearby hospital as the doctors informed them that they only could save one, and without hesitation they chose Ade. As they got outside, Ade and Sugio and Hase all cried together as they said their final goodbyes. And Sugio and Ade opened up a portal to the year 2140. As in the billboard it says, "My beloved friends," made by Hase. He turned out to become a famous influencer in the future. 5 years forward, that Ade and Sugio began teaching people in the year 2140 about Indonesian culture. As for Sase, he began teaching and became an entrepreneur, teaching about budaya Indonesia. So that is it, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening to my story. What do you guys think? Tell me down in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.
Good day, everyone. Today I'm going to present my book. It's called The Long Lost Recipe, written by Gerald Rahadian. Yes. Once upon a time, there lived a young admiring chef named Tosa. Tosa was a man who just finished college. Tosa really wanted to prove people that Indonesian dishes are better than other cuisine or fusion cuisine. Tosa lived in the year 2016. In this period of the year, a lot of people prefer other cuisine from their own country foods. He worked in a small family restaurant that sadly closed due to bankruptcy. Tosa was deeply affected by his family bankruptcy. He worked in his family restaurant since he was a young child and enjoyed assisting his parents, starting as a waiter and now as a chef. He has no idea how to support his family because he has been rejected from every job he sought for. He started drinking and gave up because he was deeply affected because of his financial family financial were tight. His appearance began to change. He developed a beard and a mustache, and his hair was becoming rather long, and he ate frozen meals and cold pizza. It lasted for a few months because his family began to worry. Friends, yeah. And his friends began to worry and came to see him. It turns out that was Eve. Was a high school classmate. Eve replied, "Hey Tessa, you look stupid. Take a shower, we're going out." Tessa said, "Where are we going?" "It's a secret," Eve then smirked. Next, they enter into a Japanese restaurant that they serve unlimited food. Good thing that Eve got a free voucher from her boss. Eve has Eve is happy that Tessa enjoyed eating at an all-you-can-eat restaurant. And by Tosa's expression, she can see that his personality is starting to um back to normal. Yeah, she asked Tosa why he acted differently lately. Tosa said that he tried to apply to have a job, but he was rejected multiple times. Eve asked her boss whenever she was hiring the following day, and she said Tosa to do an interview about Indonesian food. Tosa was overjoyed even though he doesn't show it. He was quite thrilled working on that business and put in a lot of effort. Tosa is the kind of person who has a tone that always flat from an early age and lacks facial expression because of his tone and expression. The the patrons of the restaurant thought that he was being impolite and condescending. Eve explained to the manager, but the manager doesn't believe, since they believe she is embracing Tosa's harsh and disrespect behavior. Soon after, Tosa lost his job, and he is miserable. He unsure about what to do after his favorite job was fired. After he was dismissed, Eve rushed and quit her job for Tosa. You know what? You know what? That job was stupid anyway. We can't even have any opinions. Good thing I quit, Eve said. But cooking food is something that I'm passionate about, Eve. I don't know what I'm going to do if I don't cook, said Tosa. You should join, Eve tells Tosa about a cooking competition known as the Elite Chef. We should even enter the state even to Tosa since it a televised cooking competition that prepares family recipe and turn them into a delicious gourmet dishes. My grandma used to make rendang, a dish that is uncommon but is included in her cookbook. Therefore, we should try to make it, said Tosa. It sounds so good. Do you know where your grandma cooking book? Said Eve. Um, believe it's in the attic on my house, but I forgot specifically where Tosa said. Let's find it. Um, let's just take the flying bus, said Eve. The this feels like a secret mission, Tosa said, while they giggled and shared jokes in the flying bus. In the future, buses are now transportable for all people. I, I believe I believe it's in the attic. When they found Tosa grandma cookbook, it was hard to read because it used an old language back in the 2008. The alphabet are different and it used dialogue when they translate it. It's not even working. They were shocked how they could make a dish called rendang if there was no recipe. If Dan has an idea, they will try to find the dish, searching it in reading books and interviewing people about rendang. Is the future. There are new cuisine that are hard to find. It was a struggle for Tosa because remember he remembered the taste but not the flavor. Tosa felt conflicted because the dish that Tosa has been eating for years and he couldn't even make it. If reassured Tosa that everything will be okay and they will find rendang recipe. Tosa yelled, "You don't know that everything is not okay. I just lost my job and now I can't even know a simple recipe. How can I succeed in life? I'm so stupid." If trying to comfort Tosa, but Tosa push her. They started to have a big argument, making Eve leave. Salsa, you suck. Don't you know that I love you? I care about you, and the only thing you do is treat me poorly. How dare you? Said Eve, crying and shutting the door really hard. Salsa tried to chase Eve and apologize, but he slipped on a cold pizza and ankled his leg. He cursed out of anger. He felt guilty bad for saying mean things to Eve, even though Eve cared a lot of him for him. He was angry at himself. He was being childish. His anger got the best in him, and he lashed it out to Eve, even though he didn't she didn't do anything wrong. Whatever said Eve said was right. Tosak embraced and guilty for what he did. He we thought when Eve said that Eve liked him. He was shocked. From high school, Tosa had a little feeling for Eve, but was scared to tell her off, even if his friends said his appearance was good, but he never had the courage to actually tell Eve. He felt embarrassed, a kind of pretty girl like Eve, like Tosa, and Tosa was being a jerk. It takes courage to be a man, and Tosa tried to apologize to Eve, but Eve blocked her on all the social media platforms. Tosa feels conflicted and mixed feeling. He wanted to prove that to Eve that he could change for the better and can cook rendang. So he studied in Indonesian cuisine and went to his hometown to find rendang recipe and took a little holiday to erase him from all the bad memories. When he came back to Jakarta, he accidentally spotted Eve. He built up the courage to try to talk to her, but he was nervous. A little voice was whispering, just go, repeated. Joshua then went to Eve and apologized to Eve, and he told that Eve he learned the recipe and he wants to apologize for being a jerk. Then he wanted to confess his feelings, and suddenly a man came to Eve. Tessa was shocked that Eve was meeting up with a man. He didn't know Eve moved on so quickly. Eve introduced Tessa. Turns out Eve is Eve's brother. Tessa was glad and quite nervous. Then it was Eve's brother. Then he asked Eve if she was entering the elite chef, and she said yes. A couple months A couple months go by. Tessa has been accepted in the elite chef competition, and Eve rejected in the competition. Eve cheers on Tessa at the competition, wishing him a good luck. Tessa faced a lot of people, especially his new rival Ryu from Japan. Was was the biggest threat for Ryu because Japanese culture has one of the best food. He faced Ryu in the semifinals, which was nerve-wracking for Tosa. Then Tosa won the elite chef. Yeah, beating Ryu because of his signature dish, chicken rendang, even if there were a lot of obstacles. It's quite different because Tosa preferred chicken over beef, and his plating and taste was quite shocking, giving a judge a 5 out of 5 for Tosa. Tosa was shocked that he won. Eve hugs Tosa tightly, and Tosa finally confessed his feelings to Eve. Eve was so happy that Tosa finally confessed and hugged Tosa again. Because of that, the popularity of the elite chef is he opened a full. Indonesian must run but eat together. The end. Yeah. Bye.